Hey y'all, it's G and welcome to this video. I wanted to do a planner update and show you some changes and adjustments I've made since I've been in this Hobonichi now since December, and it's been about 4 months, and kind of just share some thoughts I have on the process and the planning that I've been going through. So this could be useful for someone who might be just wanting to try the Hobonichi and see how setup is done, or someone who isn't sure if the Hobonichi is working for them and seeing how other people are using it, or you could be someone like me who's just obsessed with watching setup videos on Hobonichi on YouTube. So if you're any one of those 3 people, find out what happens next. So the first obvious thing I've done is I have repapered the cover of the Hobonichi, and I really enjoy doing this. This is just scrapbook paper that I got from a 12 by 12 pad. I make sure that I use repositional adhesive so it's easy to take off. This is the second time that I've switched it out because the paper gets worn out, and when you do switch it out, it's a lot of fun. It's like you bought a new planner. I always add washi to the side here so that it makes it a little bit more secure, and I make sure that the washi continues onto the other side as well so that I don't have any fear of the paper coming off. Another thing I added was this journal card, which is from the same scrapbook paper pad, and I just thought it was a nice sentiment, something optimistic to see when I first opened the planner. On the inside, this is a new addition. I added a "This book belongs to" with my name and phone number in case this gets lost. I also have changed and updated my key. I've simplified it, and I really love this setup, and I loved how clean and visually appealing it is, and I'm really enjoying using this on my daily pages. On this page, I did a brilliant, simple hack that I got from Lil DeVette's video, and I'll link it here. That was to add the month names in English. It makes this spread really accessible and easy to reference, and I really enjoy the color. So I thought that was a great tip, and I'm glad that I did it. So this page has my Calendex tracking, and it has mixed results. I was tracking very faithfully, and then I got pretty sick and I didn't feel better until about here. I didn't have any energy to figure out what to do, and then April started and I don't know what I'm going to do now. The tiny habits actually worked really well. In fact, it's fully integrated into my daily life, so I don't even know if I need to track these anymore. So I'm not sure if I'm going to continue tracking or if I'm going to turn this into something else. I'm completely okay with it just not being anything. If you have any suggestions for this, let me know in the comments. On the monthly pages, I'm still doing a daily little sketch or lettering, and I really love still doing this. It got to be a little much coloring it every night. These last few weeks, I've just been penciling it in, and then I color it if I get a good chunk of time on the weekend or the evenings. The only thing about doing this is where I started to feel like I had a bit of a functional identity crisis with the planner. I'm really beginning to think that it's not a good fit for me to mix home and work in one planner, which the cousin is really good to do with because there's so much space. But this is a more personal expression, and I pull this planner out in meetings and with clients, and I don't necessarily want them to see that I'm, sketching a teddy bear. So I have a solution for this, and I'll talk about it more when I get into the daily pages. But that's one of the things that kind of came up was maybe this isn't a good place to track daily doodles, even though I love it. However, on the weekly pages, I still really love mixing home and work on one spread to see it. So the weekly page function is kind of interesting as part of my planning process. It kind of serves 2 purposes. One, it helps me to remember what events I have and map it out and reassure me by writing everything down. But I only have to write it down once, and I don't need to actually refer to it again as the week goes by. And I have all of these dates down and all these appointments down on my Google Calendar that's updated in real time. So the function of the weekly plan is really just for me to map it out in my brain and have it in there. And the other function is that it's just a lot of fun for me to decorate. So it's really entertainment too. I love experimenting with different looks. I love experimenting with different techniques. I think that I'll eventually calm down on all of that, but for now, I love using it in this way, and I'm probably going to keep doing that until I get tired of thinking about a new idea every week. So these are the daily spreads, and this is the routine that I've developed over the last 4 months. The page is set up like this. The night before, I map in my time that I'm going to be spending the next day, And sometimes this is different from what's in the weekly view, and I'm totally fine with that. I just look at my Google Calendar in real time. This is very fast, not decorated. And then I have 3 zones. I have my overall work tasks, I have a project that I'm in charge of, and then I have home. And so far this has been working really well, but I'm beginning to need a little bit more room for tracking tasks and following up on things on the daily page for work. And the other conflict is with theming the daily pages, they get sometimes they're a little bit over decorated and maybe not appropriate just to pull out in the workplace in a meeting with a boss or your boss's boss. So I'm starting to think I'm going to scale back on that. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to start doing some gratitude journaling. And I have some prompts that I got from the 5-minute journal, and I'll link to that. And those prompts are great, but they take up a lot of room. Here's an example. On here it says, what you're grateful for, what would make today great, 3 amazing things that happened, and it could potentially take up half of this or a quarter of this page. So if I want to do gratitude journaling and I also want to track more tasks on the daily page, there's not going to be enough room for that. So this is my solution. I'm going to pull all of the personal and gratitude journaling out of the cousin and into the Hobonichi weeks. This was an April start from 2016, and I just ordered a new April start. And there's room in the setup to do both of those things. So I had a lot of empty pages in this week's in 2016 because I didn't really use it regularly. So I tested it out, and I can fit 3 things here, 2 updates here, and then still do a daily doodle on here, and I think it'll work out really well. This isn't exactly the same as the monthly squares. The monthly squares are 6 by 11, but this is 7 by 9, so there's quite a bit of room on there, and I can kind of play with these pages and switch up where the picture goes, and it would be nice to see things weekly, so I think this is going to be a really good fit. I also really like how the weeks, half of it is just pages for notes, and that's going to be very convenient just to kind of throw in my bag and bring it along. And it's very, very thin, and I may even put it in a case that will make it also use and function as a wallet. So I've ordered an April start, and I hope it gets here soon. So my conclusion is that for me right now, it's not a good fit to mix home and work in one planner. I think I'm really going to enjoy having personal in one and work in another, and having the personal one be small and very portable. Finally, in the back of the cousin, at least in the Avec, there's just a few gridded pages, and I use that to track sleep, but my tiny habits worked so much and then I got sick, my sleeping schedule's kind of on track, so I don't know what I'm going to use these pages for either, but there's plenty of room if I need something else. Another big change I've made was to change my SIDEKICK notebook. I was using the Moleskine Cahiers, and I still really like this notebook, but it doesn't last me very long. I take a lot of notes. This really only lasted about a month, so I could see that I would have to keep buying and updating. So I wanted something a little thicker. So I updated to the STALOGY A5, and I gotta say, I really, really like this. The paper is great. It's a little thicker than the Hobonichi paper, but it's pretty hardy, and it's been really good. It doesn't have a 180-degree binding, so it closes on itself, but it turns out that I like that more than I thought I would because it keeps it really compact. So these both together are a really nice fit, and it's about the size of a full cousin. And this is the new cover that I'm using, and I have a separate video on the full setup of this, which I'll link below. I added this elastic cord to enclose it, and this is from the Hobonichi website. These are my 2 everyday carry pens. This is a 4-color multi Frixion. This is the Faber Castell in black and the extra small tip. This is a fantastic pen for the Hobonichi, great contrast. I highly recommend both of these. Here are some small post-its that I use a lot for my weekly pages. These are regular post-its, square. This ice cream post-it fits in, it's just something to be cute. These are my beloved Hobonichi stencils that live here. This is a post-it from the Dollar Spot, their Sweet Dreams line from spring. This card I use for cutting washi, and there's a little bit of extra washi on here in case I need it. Smaller post-it, I don't know where this is from, my daughter gave it to me, but I really like it. And I'm down to 1 paper clip. And then on this side, I have the stencil from the Hobonichi Weeks, And these are the strings that I hacked in. So this is how the full setup looks. This slides in with the back cover here. If I have a project that I'm tracking and in charge of, I also use a Muji A5 notebook. And then the STALOGY fits in. I just put the cover in the front here. If I needed to, I could fit in another Muji on this cord. It makes it kind of fat, so I try not to do that, but I've had to do that a couple times. I lay the bookmarks back down, close it up, and close it. And there's my setup. So I hope this has been useful for you and you've picked up some tips and tricks or suggestions. And I'd also love to see your setups in April, and any video links that you want to share, go ahead and do it in the comments. Thanks so much for watching.